Hey guys, it's Catherine and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with my January 2020 setup in my digital planner. I cannot believe it's almost 2020. It feels weird just saying that year. But for 2020, I have decided to switch to a portrait style planner. Now, if you are familiar with my previous videos, I have pretty much always done my memory keeper in landscape mode, and I just wanted to try something different this year, especially because a few months ago I came out with the Truly Yours portrait. So if you've seen any of my other memory keeping plan with me videos, you're already familiar with the Truly Yours planner. And if you're not familiar with that planner, I'll link to the Truly Yours landscape walkthrough in the video description. But this is essentially the same planner, it's just in portrait mode. So I thought it would be fun to just go ahead and get my January section set up how I like to set it up, and then I will start filling in my monthly calendar. I do want to apologize for my hands in this video. It was Christmas yesterday, and somehow I got not one, but 3 paper cuts when I was unwrapping gifts. So I've got cuts on my hands, and my nails aren't painted as usual, so my hands just look pretty rough today. So this is the cover. This 2020 sticker does not come with the planner. This is an undated planner, but I just drew this in Procreate and then brought it in to GoodNotes and placed it on top of one of the covers that comes in the Truly Yours portrait planner. So to get started, I'm just going to delete all of the covers that I don't want to use. So I'm just going to hit select. So just personally, the very, very light pink cover with the gold polka dots is my favorite cover, and I never switch over to the rest of these covers, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete those. And also, since I do all of my planning in Procreate, I go ahead and delete every single page in the section except for my blank page, and then I just duplicate that blank page over and over and then place all of my layouts on top of a blank page. You'll see what I'm talking about at the end of this video. So now when I flip to the next page of my planner, I'm in my January section, and then I go directly into this blank page, and that's exactly what I want to do. So now I'm going to head over to Procreate, and I'm already in my digital planning stack. So now I'm just going to import one of the layouts from the Truly Yours portrait. And I'm going to do that by going over to my Dropbox. And I think I'm going to go with this layout right here for January. This is monthly layout number 3. So for this month, I'm going to use a January monthly kit from Print Petticoat Bandit. I love this shop so much. I've used them in several of my videos, and I'm going to pull those in from Dropbox as well. I'll link to these in the video description along with this planner. So here's the sticker sheet. It came in a little bit small. I'm going to resize it. Now, when you size something up, it might pixelate it a little bit, but it doesn't pixelate it enough to bother me. That's just all about personal preference. When I do these videos, I just tell you guys the way that I would do something, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the way that it has to be done, if that makes sense. You can resize things or do things however you want. This is just the way that I personally do things. Okay, so first I'm going to take this January header and place that at the top of my page. I think the colors in this are so pretty. I love the font that she used for January, and it's just gorgeous. So to select that header, I'm going to go to this ribbon right here. I'm going to go down to rectangle, and then I'm just going to draw a rectangle around that header, and then I'm going to come down here and hit copy and paste. So now I'm going to hide my sticker sheet layer, and I just tapped that ribbon again to deselect it for now. And now I'm tapping my arrow. I'm coming up here. I have uniform selected down here, and I'm just going to drag to resize, and I just want it to fill the whole top of my planner page. I feel like I need to resize it a little bit more. Every now and then when magnetics is on, it'll kind of mess you up from dragging those dots. So when that happens, just turn magnetics off, and then you can drag freely. So you will see when I zoom in, it's not as clear as it could be, but when I'm zoomed out, it's clear. That's all that matters to me. So now I'm going to use these daily headers. I love these, and I'm going to have to resize these pretty significantly in order to get them to fit above my boxes. So this part is going to take me just a minute, but I'm going to speed through it in the video. To copy those, I'm going to do the exact same thing that I just did for my January header, except I'm going to do a freehand crop rather than a rectangle crop. Okay, so I've duplicated my header layer, and I'm going to try to place these without having to move them individually and doing any further cropping. But I like for my calendars to have a Monday start rather than a Sunday start. I'm just not a fan of Sunday starts. That's personal preference. So I've duplicated it. So on this first layer, I am going to do a little freehand selection and then hit my arrow. And then I'm going to turn magnetics on so I can keep it in a line. And then I'm just going to move this over until Sunday is off of my layout and I can no longer see Sunday, but I still have some space to the side of Monday. And then I'm just going to deselect it. And now I've gotten rid of Sunday on that layer. So now I'm going to turn off that first layer, and I'm going to turn on the second layer, which still has Sunday, and I'm going to do the same thing, except now I'm going to keep only Sunday, and I'm going to get rid of the rest of these. So I'm just going to rotate this for a minute and drag that bottom line off the page. This is just the quickest way to get rid of multiple things, in my opinion. So once again, there's different ways you can do this. This is just how I'm going to do it for now. So I got rid of that bottom line. Now I'm going to rotate again. I know this is upside down. So now Sunday is the only thing that I've got left here. So I'm going to rotate this so it's facing the right direction. Now I'm going to show this layer again, and to make this easier to align, I'm going to try to line this up on one of my calendar lines right here. And now I'm going to take Sunday and try to get this as close as possible. So you can still see a little bit of a line right here, and that's because this was the first part of this top line initially. So I'm going to smudge that together. So to do that, I'm going to pinch these two layers together. So now this is all one layer rather than two layers. And then I'm going to go to my smudge tool right here, which is this finger. And I've got a monoline brush selected for that, so that'll work just fine for me. I'm just going to kind of tap over that line and see how that got rid of that line, and you can't tell that it's smudged. I mean, I guess you can if you zoom in pretty far, but once again, from far away, you can't tell. That little white dot right there is actually a little sparkle that's supposed to be there. So that worked really well. Okay, so now for the next step, I am going to just move this down and try to line these up right here. I'm going to do a quick rectangle selection and just select this top row and then go to my arrow. The only thing with this is that I don't want Monday to go off of the page. Hopefully it's not. I can't really tell right now. See, it did cut off part of Monday. So I actually need to start over. What I need to do is move this whole layer over. And then I want to get it on the line again. Okay, so now I've got my bottom line on my calendar line. I feel like I've said the word line like 5,000 times. And now I'm going to do a rectangle selection again and try to get these lined up. And I feel like that's pretty close. It might not be perfect, but it's pretty close. And once again, using my smudge tool, I'm just going to kind of tap right here so that line doesn't look as harsh. So that's not perfect, but it's pretty close. I wish there was a little bit more pink here, but there's nothing that I can do to add pink behind the Wednesday and Thursday font, so I'm okay with it. All right, So now I'm going to take this and try to align it with my boxes. Now keep in mind the stickers that I purchased were made for an entirely different planner. So this may not work. I may have just wasted all of that time for nothing, but we will see here in a minute. Okay, so that looks pretty good, but Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are not as centered as I would like them to be. They're a little bit to the right. So I am going to try to play around with this and see what I can do to correct that. Okay, so I ended up dividing these layers once again. So I've got Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday on one layer, and then Thursday through Sunday are on the other layer. And hopefully this works. So these layers are separate right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch to an airbrush, and Procreate actually comes with an airbrushing default brush, and then you can choose from all these. So I'm going to keep it on soft airbrush, and I'm on a layer underneath these headers. I'm going to press and hold to color match this really, really light, almost white pink. And then I'm just going to come through here with the soft airbrush. I can already see I'm going to have to smudge and erase a little bit. So that looks good, but yes, I do need to erase. So I'm going to switch to my eraser, and I'm going to keep that on hard airbrush, and I'm going to adjust the size a little bit. And then I'm just going to erase where it overlapped with this calendar line. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine the layers once again. I'm going to go to my smudge tool and then smudge this. I'm just going to tap. So now that's all blended together. And now I'm just going to come through with my eraser. That's a brush. I'm going to come through with my eraser and just clean up where this overlaps just a little bit. So I'm going to do something similar to what I just did and create a layer underneath my headers and then color match these edges right here. And I still have my airbrush selected. So I'm just going to airbrush just to make it look like it's going off the page, and then I'll smudge these together, and then I will be done with my daily headers. And there we go. I've got my headers placed. Again, they're not perfect, but I'm good with it. It looks really nice in my opinion. I'm going to go ahead and merge my January header and then my daily headers together. And then I'm going to create a new layer right above my calendar layer. And I'm just going to come in here with white. And again, using an airbrush, I'm going to switch to the hard airbrush. I'm just going to go over these lines right here so I can do something else down here. And since my background is white and my brush is white, it's just covering those lines. It won't work if you have a bright and colorful background. It only works if you have like a solid color background that you can color match. So now I'm going to drag those two together, and now those boxes down there are permanently covered. Okay, so now I'm going to place my numbers. So it looks like January 2020 starts on a Wednesday. And as we all know, January has 31 days. So I'm going to pull the numbers from this sticker sheet, and I'm going to use all 31. So just like I did with the headers, I'm going to copy and paste those after I select them. I am going to use a freehand crop and then copy and paste. And now I'm going to hide my sticker sheet. And I actually really like the size of these numbers for these boxes. So the easiest thing to do, in my opinion, is just bring the numbers down here and then just quickly place the numbers in the boxes and then zoom in so I can get a better alignment. So that's what I'm going to do now, and it's going to take some time, so I'm going to speed through this part of the video. Okay, so I just wanted to chime in and say that if you're like me and you like to copy and paste your numbers onto new layers before placing them, just for easier adjusting, if you get to a point where you reach your maximum amount of layers, just place what you have, then merge those layers together, and then start copying and pasting the rest. That's what I'm about to do now, so you can see what I mean. But that is one way you can kind of compromise where you can still work the way that you want to work. You just have to do it in segments if you reach your maximum layers. Okay, so while I was placing those numbers, I actually came up with a couple of ideas of what I want to do for the rest of my page. The first thing that I'm going to do is erase any of the boxes that I don't need, because you can see here I've got 2 extra boxes here, 2 more here, and then a whole row here. So I'm just going to change my brush color to white once again, and then create a layer directly above my calendar, and then just adjust my brush size and get rid of some of these boxes. I've done this in several videos, so if you've watched those, you probably already know how I'm doing this, but if you're new here, then to erase any boxes that you don't need, all you need to do is zoom in really close when you get on a box that is attached to boxes that you do need, because you don't want to erase those lines. Just zoom in really close. Make your brush size very small. I've got it at 1% right now. And then just erase just like this, and you'll actually see it erasing pixel by pixel. And that way you get a nice clean line. So now I can make my brush huge now that those aren't connected, and I can easily erase. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing down here and for this entire bottom row. And I always just do what I call the joints first, which is where these lines are connected. By the way, I'm so excited to announce that this is the very last video that I'll be filming on my phone. I have a new camera, and tomorrow I'm going to spend part of the day trying to figure it out, and it comes with a tripod so I can do like my desk view with this newer professional camera. So hopefully I can like adjust the white balance so my white table will actually look white rather than yellow. I'm so excited about that. Okay, so you'll see right here, I accidentally erased part of a line that I need, but that's no problem whatsoever. I'm just going to change my brush color to black and make my brush tiny again, and then just connect those lines. I'm sorry, by the way, if you can hear my husband and my kids and everybody running around upstairs. I have a huge family and they're loud, so, you know, it is what it is. Okay, so now I'm just going to merge that layer where I came in with my white brush. I'm going to merge that with my calendar. Okay, so the next part of this is going to 100% be time consuming, but I just think it'll look so pretty, so I have to do it. I'm going to switch back to soft airbrush, and I'm going to try to create a background around this calendar that matches the transition of this header right here. And it's not going to be perfect, but I do think it'll look nice. So I'm just going to once again create a layer directly above my calendar layout, and I'm going to start drawing some lines. So right here, I want to match this purple shade. And I'm going to come to about right here. I'm just going to press and hold to get that line straight. Okay, so now I'm going to build off of this line and just draw another line down, hold, and let it go. Now I'm going to drag and drop this color dot, but I'm just going to fill the lines that I just drew. So now I'm going to switch to this other color and maybe do that to about right here. Now I know this is looking a little crazy now, but I am going to be smudging this all together, so it will be way more blended by the time I'm done with all this. Okay, so I'm going to try a few different things with this. I might actually try to do a Gaussian blur first and see how that goes. And then if that doesn't work the way that I want it to, then I'm going to smudge everything. So to do a Gaussian blur, I'm just going to go to this wand. I'm going to go to Gaussian blur. And then I'm just going to slide my pencil. And that is actually looking really close to what I had in mind. But I'm going to have to do some readjusting, and that's totally okay. I've been so far behind in my digital planner that I actually don't mind how long this is going to take, because I've really missed doing all this stuff. Okay, so that looks good. That looks pretty close to what I had in mind. There's still a really hard line right there because I softened it when I did the blur. So I'm going to actually duplicate this to make it a little bit darker. I might actually duplicate that one more time, and you'll see it's starting to cover my calendar, but that's no problem. I can take care of that. Okay, so I'm actually duplicating several times. Okay, so now I'm going to merge this together, and I'm going to adjust the opacity so I can see my calendar. And now I'm just going to do some erasing on this texture layer. Okay, so I finally have all that done. I do want to say that if I had known that I was going to go this route from the beginning, I could have saved some time by pulling this layout into Magic Eraser and erasing all of the white space. But a lot of times when I'm doing these Planoly videos, I don't have an idea set in stone, and I just kind of figure it out as I go along, and that's definitely the case for today. So that's why I didn't do that. I know I could have saved time by doing that, but by the time I figured out that I wanted to do this background, I already had most of my numbers placed, and I just didn't want to redo all that. So now I am going to actually bring my header down. I don't know if I'm going to stick with this. This is just something that I'm testing out, but I'm going to merge that with my background, and then I'm going to see what it would look like if I smudge this. Not sure I'm a fan of how that's looking. Okay, I actually decided to duplicate my background a few times, and now I'm just going to do a little bit more polishing. Okay, and actually what I'm going to do to clean up these lines is I'm going to come above my background. I'm going to start a new layer. I'm going to switch my color to black. I'm going to use a monoline brush. I'm going to make it pretty thin. That's too thin. And now I'm just going to draw out the outline of this calendar again. It's not going to be perfect. I usually don't spend this much time decorating my calendar, but like I said earlier, I'm okay with it because I haven't really done anything like this in a while. So what I'm going to do now, you'll see I've hidden my calendar layer and I've hidden my background briefly, and now I'm just going to drag and drop and fill these in with white. And it's important for you to know that this is on top of my background that I drew, because since I used an airbrush, I tried to erase what I could, but I couldn't get everything. So there was still a little bit of splotchiness from those colors. So instead of just leaving that behind, I thought I'd be okay with it, but I'm not. I'm just filling these in with white again to cover up some of that splotchiness. So now I've got my solid white squares. I'm fine with the lines being really thin. And now when I turn on my calendar layer and everything, this is what I've got. The only thing I kind of want to change is this line right here is a little bold. And this isn't perfect, but it just looks a little bit better. Okay. I've got some boldness through here too. You know what? It's fine. I've played with this so much, I'm perfectly fine with it. So I kind of know what I want to do around all this blank area, but for now, I am going to fill in my dates. So I only have a few dates as of now for January, but I will come back and fill in other dates or change whatever I need to change. So I've got my background done, I've got my numbers and my calendar merged, and I'm actually going to go ahead and merge that with my page layer. So to fill in this calendar, I'm actually going to use a brush that I created in my video about Procreate 5. I'll link to that video in the video description, but I just think it'll look really nice with this calendar. And I think I'm going to use this shade of purple that she used for these daily headers. I'm going to use that to fill in my days because I think that'll look nice. So now I'm just going to fill in my dates. Actually, I changed my mind. I do still like that brush, but I would rather use just a solid brush. So I'm going to use my brush style lettering brush for my dates. Okay, so these are all of my appointments and important dates for January. It's not a lot. I think for the first, I'm just going to write New Year's Day just to fill that in. And that's it. So, since we're entering a new year, I usually don't really have many resolutions. I can't get in that mindset of like new year, new me that a lot of people do. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's just never been something that I've really done. I try to set some resolutions, but I don't really prioritize them. But just for some reason in recent weeks, I've just been thinking that 2020, I want to do some things to make me feel better about myself. I'll be turning 31 in just a few weeks, and I'm kind of freaking out about getting older. Not that 31 is old, but it's definitely not, young. It's not as young as early 20s and stuff like that, where you still are kind of a kid, but kind of an adult. And so I just want to do some things to take better care of myself and to have more confidence. So just like, for example, some of the things that I'm doing in January, I have a consult for hair extensions. Because my hair is something that I struggle with. I've had thick, frizzy hair my whole life, but the older that I get, the more it kind of falls out. So it's still really thick at the top, but then the longer it gets, the thinner it gets towards the bottom. And it just doesn't matter what I do, that's how it is. The fact that I have an iron deficiency, which I take iron supplements for, and hypothyroidism, I lose even more hair than the average 30-something-year-old. So I'm getting hair extensions to kind of even out some of that thinness that's happening towards the bottom of my hair, because I don't want to cut my hair short. I can never have short hair as far as I know. Maybe when I get like way older, I might consider having shorter hair, but for now I want my hair to be long. It's always been long. And so I'm getting hair extensions, which will hopefully help me feel better about my hair. I'm also getting Invisalign braces in 2020, which I'm really excited about. I was supposed to get them back in August, but then my son had some health issues. So obviously that was priority, and I just kind of put everything on the back burner. So now I will be getting those in January sometime. I actually was supposed to go to the consult today, but I woke up feeling like I was getting sick. So I had to cancel, but I'm calling back tomorrow to reschedule, and I'll get that set up for sometime in January. So I'm just trying to do little things like that that are going to give me a little more self-confidence. And I know all that stuff could be considered vain to some people, but confidence is just a really important thing for me to have. I haven't put myself first in years. I haven't focused on my appearance in years, honestly, since I became a mom. And so that's just something that I kind of want to do this year. So I'm going to put little quotes and stuff around this to kind of remind myself of that. So right here, I think I'm going to write the year of self-care. And I'm actually going to write it in black and then overlay it in a gold texture. And then I'm going to pull in a texture from Blog Pixie from her Glamour Textures pack. I use this all the time, and I'll link to it in the video description. So now I'm just duplicating that layer because I want this to have a little bit of a shadow so it sticks out a little bit more. Let's see, I'm actually going to undo some of this because I don't think my font choice for the year of is going to work with a gold texture. It's not going to show up. So I'm going to undo where I merged that. And now I'm just going to make self-care gold. There, that looks a lot better. Now I can merge all that together. Now I'm just trying to think of what to put here, and I don't really have any ideas for that specific spot. I think I'm just gonna write start fresh. And once again, I'm gonna overlay that in a gold texture because that gold is just really working for that background. I keep selecting everything but insert a file. Let's see. For that one, I'm gonna use this coffee cream texture. It's from the same Blog Pixie pack. I actually like to adjust the brightness on this one. So I'm gonna do that here. I just feel like that makes it look a little bit more like gold foil. And once again, I'm gonna duplicate that lettering layer before I merge everything together. Go to that bottom layer that's still black, move it over a little bit, and then do a quick little Gaussian blur to just give it a little bit of a shadow. And I'm actually saving this space down here for pictures. I want to do a collage of just my favorite pictures from the month. And so I'll set that up at the end of the month. I just think that would be another fun way to incorporate pictures in my memory keeper. So what I'm gonna do for now is just write photos will go here. And then I'm actually gonna go ahead and save that and put it in my planner. And then I'll replace this at the end of the month. So now, before my phone dies, because it's about to die any second, I'm going to save this to my camera roll by going to Share, selecting PNG, and then Save Image. And now I'm going to close out of Procreate, go into GoodNotes, and just right on top of this blank page, I am going to access my toolbar. Right now, I'm in what I call view mode. I don't know if that's the proper name for it, but I'm going to select that icon, get my toolbar. I just pinch this a couple times to make sure I'm all the way zoomed out. I'm going to double tap my image icon, go to all photos, and then pull that in, and then just drag this corner to resize it, and then bring it up here because I still want to be able to use my links at the bottom, which, by the way, if you cover your links with a photo, you can still actually use your links, but I actually like the look of these links down here in my planner, so I don't cover those. So there it is. That's it for now. I will do a flip through of my January planner at the end of the month, so you'll be able to see how the photos look down here. But I really like how this turned out. I spent a very long time on it. And like I said earlier in the video, if I would have known that I was going to go this direction, I could have used Magic Eraser to erase all the white space, and then I wouldn't have had to worry about erasing within the boxes, but I didn't decide to go this route until I had already placed like 30 out of 31 numbers. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. It would mean the world to me. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more digital plan with me videos and digital planning tutorials. Check out my Facebook group, my Patreon page, and my Etsy shop if you'd like to purchase this planner. I will link to all of that in the video description down below. I'll see you guys in the next video.